we like this style? Do we like it when I talk? Do we like it when I vlog? Do we want me to just stick to talking about the astro? You let me know in the comments. That's what we're here for. That's what this relationship is, you know what I mean? Vlog, what's up? I just got back from work. Someone is fighting with someone on the phone in the hallway, so that's real cool. I think I'm gonna do some yoga out on my balcony because that just feels right. Say hi to the vlog, Ollie. I am planning on getting a new camera at some point, so I'm carrying something that's a little less bulky than my SLR because it's kind of a lot to deal with. Come on, light. There we go. I'm gonna change now. Here we are. It's Mars Day, so naturally we're wearing red. The cat just always feels the need to be involved. He just always has to be all up in my business. So that's pretty much the plan for today. I'm gonna do some yoga out on the balcony. I'm gonna do some laundry, gonna make some dinner. That's about it. In a bit of a funk today. I don't really know why. Let's check the transits. Where's the moon? 29-degree Pisces. No wonder why I want to cry. This is that time in the vlog where I talk about the astrology for the week ahead. So we are talking Monday, July 5th through Sunday, July 11th. And once again, I'm here on my floor where I feel most comfortable talking about astrology for some reason. So let's jump right in. First, on Monday, July 5th, we've got two kind of big things happening. We've got the Sun sextile Uranus, and we've got Venus sextile the North Node. So let's first talk about the Sun sextiling Uranus. So the Sun is our planet of our life force. It's who we are, it's how we shine, it's how we show up. It's also our ego. And it's in this supportive aspect with Uranus and Taurus, which is the planet of change, of rebellion, of breaking free. And Uranus, as we talked about last week, can be a little unsteady and can be a little kind of chaotic is the word I want to use. But with the Sun in Cancer, emotive, compassionate, caring. With Uranus in Taurus, which makes the earth a little shaky. This feels to me like it's time to break free. And again, with it being a sextile, it's kind of like that supportive aspect that you don't necessarily feel that strongly because it's something that's just kind of happening. So this is the time to kind of like let your ego break free. Let yourself be who you need to be. Like allow yourself to break out of the confines of whatever box you've put yourself in, because we don't need to be put in boxes anymore. It's time for us to break free and to show up authentically and in the way that we feel really is most authentically ourselves. Because Cancer is feeling. Cancer can't really hide how they're feeling. And so if you no longer want to hide who you are, this could be a great time to break free and to show yourself and show the world who you are and show up exactly as you are. Then shortly after that, like a literal half hour later, Venus in Leo is going to form a sextile to the North Node in Gemini. And Venus represents a couple different things, but it represents things like our values, our relationships, also things like beauty and aesthetics. And when it's, again, in that supportive aspect with the North Node, we're kind of doing that work of like, how do our values support our karmic destiny? How is what we are putting our investment, or what we're putting our investment into, our money, our time, the things that I would assume most of us value, money and time, what are the things that we're doing that support our karmic destiny and kind of where we're headed? And that's what kind of comes up on Monday. Then on Tuesday, July 6th, we've got Mercury square Neptune. Now, every time I talk about Neptune, I just totally lose all words, so I apologize in advance if I don't even know what I'm saying. But Mercury is in Gemini, starting to gain a little bit of speed again, and that's a good thing that Mercury is moving forward and it's in its domicile. But when it's square Neptune, it's like the words just float off the page. For some reason, I'm seeing in my head, like if you've ever seen Harry Potter, when I think it's Chamber of Secrets, whenever he's writing in the notebook to Tom Riddle and the words like disappear, almost like invisible ink. That can be kind of the vibe with Neptune coming in, because Neptune dissolves boundaries. Neptune makes things really confusing and foggy and kind of delusional. So it can be really foggy and confusing, but with a square, there's an action that needs to be done. And so I wrote down, try to clear the river. Like, you know it's going to be foggy, you know that there might be some like confusion, communication might be a little bit more challenging. And so that can be one thing, but there can also be an opportunity there to kind of pull down the words from the sky to emote itself in a way that is artistic. Because Neptune also rules the arts. So if you can, try to lean into the more like artistic side of this aspect, rather than the more like foggy and confusing side. And you know, it's going to depend on where it falls in your chart with how it's going to show up for you exactly, but just kind of generally speaking, see what you can do with this square. Now, I do want to have the caveat that I get it. I've been personally victimized by Neptune for too long. Neptune has been hanging out at really potent degrees for me for a while, but if I can get through Neptune, so can you. So I have faith that it's going to be all right. Then, later in the day on Tuesday, we've got Venus in Leo opposite Saturn in Aquarius. And Venus, again, we're talking values, and we're talking relationships. And in Leo, it wants to be big, it wants to be bold, it wants to be dramatic. But when it's opposite Saturn, the planet of fears, limitations, boundaries, structure, in its domicile of Aquarius, it's almost like, to me, there's this sort of polarization of boundaries, because something that's really important in relationships is to have boundaries. And so this can look like a lack of boundaries or too much boundary. So again, the opposition, we just had this aspect last week with Mars. The opposition is like when you're standing on opposite sides of the room and can't hear each other. Venus is yelling to Saturn and Saturn is yelling to Venus, and they're just not able to communicate effectively here. So watch for difficulties or challenges or obstacles in relation to things like relationships, to money, to values, things like that. Something to pay attention to. And then Thursday, the 8th, we've got Venus square Uranus and Taurus. So again, we're getting the same aspect that we had last week with Mars. And again, this Venus in Leo wants to be big, wants to be bold, wants to be dramatic. And Taurus, why do I keep saying Taurus? Uranus in Taurus wants to shake things up. It wants to make things chaotic. It wants to make things tense with a square. And so this can feel like maybe relationships or values are kind of on unsteady ground. Like there could be maybe almost like a bit of a boiling point at times. But kind of on the more positive side of this, I kind of want to see this as like having the opportunity to try something new, like to try a new aesthetic, because again, Uranus in Taurus wants to break free. Uranus wants to rebel. It wants to not be confined by the structure of Saturn, for example. And so I kind of want to lean into this transit as more of like a, what's a cool style that I want to try that's maybe not in my comfort zone that I can maybe play around with, or what is something that I can do to express myself and my values in a way that's different or unique. That's how I want to see this transit on Thursday the 8th, but I guess we'll find out. And then lastly, on Sunday the 11th, we've got Mercury moving into cool, emotive Cancer. And so Mercury is our planet of communication. It's our planet of thinking, of reasoning, of logic. And when it moves into Cancer, I personally have Mercury in Cancer, and I feel like I'm still trying to figure it out all the time. But it kind of goes from this buzzy, social, witty kind of vibe in Gemini, and it kind of drops in a little bit into Cancer. It becomes more like, instead of, if we're thinking of it in analogies, Mercury in Gemini is like going to dinner on a patio and talking with all of your friends. And like Mercury in Cancer is when you're on a lazy river and you're like holding on to the other person's inner tube and you're like having a conversation. One is much more like social and quick and whatever, and the other one is like a little bit more relaxed, a little bit more emotive, a little bit more compassionate. And that's not to say that Mercury in Gemini isn't compassionate. That's not to say that people with Mercury in Gemini aren't compassionate. That's not what I'm saying. But when Mercury is in Cancer, it puts on a new outfit. It takes on a new vibe. And so it wants to be a little bit more intuitive and a little bit more emotional. And it really wants to be considerate of the things that it's thinking before it says them, if that makes sense. I personally, with this placement, find that I'm always thinking a lot about what I want to say before I necessarily say it, especially when it's a heavy topic or something like that. So the planet Mercury is going to move into Cancer here on Sunday the 11th, and that is pretty much it for our week ahead. So again, my goal with this is to have quick bite-sized astrology that's not too long-winded, that's just little bits of information if you're starting to get into astrology, or maybe if you're into astrology but you just want something that's like quick and easy. That's my goal with this, and I also just want to talk astrology more. So I hope that made sense. I hope you liked it. Give this video, a thumbs up or a comment or subscribe or whatever if you want more of this, because I never know if what I'm doing is hitting, if that makes sense. So that's what I got for you all, and I'll see you next week. Bye!